Welcome back to the master flow chart showing the generalized mechanisms of ovulation. Ovary, that is the gonads, the primary sex organs. Folliculogenesis, the process of development of matured follicles. We'll see in detail in folliculogenesis lecture. After folliculogenesis, in a stage-wise, primary, secondary, tertiary and mature or dominant follicle is formed. Mature or dominant follicle. Here, we will say it as a very common word. That's a very common word. We will say it as Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle. I can use a word that it is known as a dominant follicle which is ready to undergo the process of ovulation, or I can say ovulatory follicle. When there is maturation of the follicle is there, see this blue line. The granulosa cells, they are so designed, they are the master cells which regulate the secretion of a good quantity of estrogen. This estrogen via the blood, it goes to the hypothalamus. Please visit the lecture which I have taken on the gonadotropins and their regulation. There I have detailed it. From the hypothalamus, it acts on the tonic center, the tonic or the surge center. This tonic or the surge center secrete luteinizing hormone, releasing hormone, that is LHRH. The detailed mechanisms are given there. I am just skipping in looking into the term of ovulation. And this LHRH is highly sensitive to the luteotrope cells which are present on the anterior pituitary. They are the luteotrope cells. So now here guys, a question, what do you mean by surge center? What do you mean by the tonic center or the basal center? So here my focus is on this word surge center, and when concentration of estrogen is too high, then it acts on the surge center and there is the pulsatile release, and this is a high frequency release of this LHRH. When estrogen level is low, it acts on the tonic or on the basal center. Then the LHRH is replaced by FSHRH, means FSH secretions are going on. But as already the follicle is matured and attending the size, then the secretion of LHRH is important. And these luteotrope cells now secrete the hormone LH. This LH by endocrine mechanism, now it will act on the Graafian follicle. So from here the process actually begins. Now focus here, Graafian follicle or ovulatory follicle, and here this undergoes LH dominance and LH dependence. So entire signaling mechanism will go for this LH. So this is the signaling mechanism goes inside. Now understand what actually happens under the influence of LH. See my dark pen, that will express what actually happens. So this leads to three most important phenomena, and that's what known as ovulation. That is follicular expansion. That means the size of the follicle increases. We will discuss why, how and what are the mechanisms. Then the second one is follicular contraction. how the follicle contracts, what are the agent which causes the contraction of the follicle. And the third point is known as the follicular rupture. That means the egg or the oocyte is released outside. To be very honest, till the last year, no exact mechanism of ovulation has been known, as it is a complete inside mechanisms inside the body or in vivo mechanism. But with the advancement of the imaging equipments, cell culture mechanisms, in vitro studies have shown these three phenomena to occur in challenged, controlled conditions. So that's why this explains the modern theory of ovulation and very accurate. If you want to read in details, you can go to the Nature Cell Biology of Henry's, and there you will get the exact mechanisms and beautiful images which justify that the follicle under the influence of LH undergoes this phenomenon. So one line I can put here. Here the follicular expansion means it is increase in the size of follicle. So where the question mark? Here the question mark. What is this? What happens? How it happens? Follicular contraction means here the smooth muscles which are present on the outer part, that is the theca externa, they contract under the influence of hormones like PGF2 alpha, PGE2. But PGF2 alpha is predominant. PGE2 causes repair, PGF2 alpha causes rupture, contraction. And these things we are going to discuss in detail. And this ectomyosin mechanism now causes the follicle to contract so that there will be rupture. So here once I am saying rupture, it is the extracellular matrix that is going to show rupture, the surface epithelium of the ovary that is going to show the rupture. So how important this is. Then the granulosa cells, they are also going to show rupture. The theca cells which are present surrounding, they are also going to show rupture. And the most important, that is the basement membrane which is distinguishing the theca and the granulosa cells, that is also going to rupture. So here three components are being involved, and we will discuss in detail in my master lecture how these mechanisms occur. As this is a foundation one, it completes the process. And here we should not understand that the secondary oocyte, or what is being known as the egg, is released, and this release mostly occurs to the oviduct, where the fimbriae, they catch hold the released secondary oocyte and bring into the region of ampulla to carry out the process of fertilization when the sperm will come. So when there is a release is there, the secondary oocyte comes. I will draw the label diagram. This is the secondary oocyte surrounded by zona lucida. This is the secondary oocyte. This is the cumulus complex cells. So these are the cumulus cells. They are surrounding the oocyte, hardly 1 to 2 layers. Depending on the species, it may vary to 3 to 4 layers, but it is 1 to 2 layer here most commonly. So this is released outside. So this is the cumulus cells, and this is the secondary oocyte, and they are being protected by a glycocalyx like substance surrounding them. Some of the granulosa cells are also lost, but this is a glycocalyx like surrounding medium which they have seen in the in vivo imaging, which is not written in traditional textbooks, and that protects this inside the oviduct and get ready the process of fertilization. So here it is surrounded by a supportive matrix, and that supportive matrix favors the process of survival, and as well as it will favor the process of fertilization. So just keep in mind these points. We are going to use this in our coming lecture. And always we should understand that whenever ovulation occurs, that process is known as ovulation. It involves this ovulation. I can summarize: ovulation involves the changes in the cellular level. Guys, do not forget that we are talking about a mature follicle or an ovulatory dominant follicle. So when I'm saying cellular level, means I'm talking about the cumulus cells, the granulosa cells, the theca cells. Besides that, some of the other cells like the smooth muscles, the endothelial cells, the capillary cells, then the fibroblast cells, they are all involved. So that's why it is the changes in the cellular level. The second one is the extracellular matrix, as I told you, because extracellular matrix is that which is present surrounding the cells, maybe the follicular fluid, maybe the glycocalyx, the glycolipid layers, they which are being present surrounding along with the basement membrane. All these are also involved during the time of this ovulation. And the third, of course, the ovary also undergoes the changes. So the changes also are marked at tissue level. So this is the key events. This is the generalized flow chart, and then I'll write my 5 points. Then we can understand that how ovulation has done. The final 4 points are that the 4 stages: folliculogenesis, complete folliculogenesis, then LH surge, then secretion of LH, then the follicles undergo expansion, then the follicle undergoes contraction, and finally the follicles undergo rupture. So with this master flow chart for foundation is over. Now I will tell you how many types of ovulation are there, because I have explained this in general, but we understood that the master of all this phenomenon is the only one which is now clearly visible. If I say at hypothalamus level GnRH or LHRH, and at the downstream level it is LH. So now you will understand how ovulation has been emerged between the animal kingdom, and you will try to understand spontaneous ovulation and induced ovulation. So stay tuned for my next lecture on type of ovulation, ovulatory stimulus and ovulatory mechanisms.